All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Atea. I am the Director of Guided Personal Supports and Community Resources at Northeast ARC. We're excited to have you with us today for this presentation. We have a great webinar session planned. Today's webinar will be presented by the Commission for the Protection of Persons with Disabilities, known as CPPD, formerly known as Disabled Persons Protection Commission, DPPC. This will include Trish Glover, Northeast Navigator, William O'Donnell, Peer Support Leader, and Tiffany Goffer-Fitz, Peer Support Manager. Followed by the presentation will be a guided Q&A session facilitated by our North Shore Community Resource Specialist, Carrie Neenan. Before we get started, I'm going to share a few announcements. For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, the Northeast Transition Collaborative Network hosts monthly virtual sessions focused on adult services, transition planning, employment, community opportunities, and resources for transition-aged youth and young adults with disabilities. In addition to our webinars, we develop resource guides on transition-related topics and offer quarterly in-person professional development opportunities for educators focused on person-centered transition planning. NTCN is a DESE-approved professional development provider. For educators seeking PDP credit for today's session, you must attend the entirety of today's webinar and complete the formative and summative knowledge assessment, which will be sent in a follow-up email. Please note that PDPs are awarded once participants complete a minimum of 10 hours of approved professional development within the topic area of special education transition. And if you have any questions regarding the PDPs or the certification process, you can reach out to us at communityresourcecenter@ne-arc.org. Following today's session, you will receive a follow-up email containing today's presentation slides, a resource guide on our financial planning series. That's not true. A resource guide on our healthy relationships and boundaries. Sorry about that. And our event guide as well. If you'd like to follow along on those right now, you're welcome to scan the QR code to have digital access to the resource guide as well as the event guide. Keep that up for just a moment. I'll pull up the one for the event guide as well. And these will be sent in a follow-up email following today's presentation. And as always, your feedback is important to us. Our survey only takes about 1 to 2 minutes to complete. Your responses will help us improve on future programming and identify topics that are most meaningful to you, your students, families, and professionals. All right, and now it's my pleasure to introduce today's presenters. We want to thank you all for being here today. I'm going to turn it over to Trish.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm Trish Glover from the Commission for Protection of Persons with Disabilities from our Sexual Assault Response Team. I'm just going to share my screen here, make sure everyone can see that. Can we see up my slides? Our slides there?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I'm the Northeast Navigator, as Matt said, and we'll share a little bit more about what we do, but first we can introduce ourselves. I'll pass it over to my colleague, William.
So I'm William. I'm on the Sexual Assault Response Team with the Commission for Protection of Persons with Disabilities, and I am a peer support leader.
Thank you. And Tiffany, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Goffer-Fitz, and I'm here with my colleagues Trish and William, and I am the peer support manager. Thank you for coming today.
All right. And today, as Matthew said, the commission recently changed our name. We were DPPC, but we have been able to change it to Person First Language. So we are now the Commission for Protection of Persons with Disabilities, or CPPD. And the mission of the commission is to protect adults with disabilities from abuse and neglect. And there is a slide here on how to report abuse and neglect. If you have a suspicion of an adult with a disability being abused or neglected, we have a hotline here. You will get the slides, so you'll have all of this information. You can file a report as well online. We do have also can use mass relay for those who are deaf and hard of hearing. And you'll have this, like I said, so if you need to do that. Today, as we move through our presentation, we do want to encourage everyone to practice self-care and to take care of what you need. The topics we talk about may be hard or bring up some difficult feelings. Please take time throughout the presentation to just do what you need. And we have a cute picture of a kitty here, one of our other peer support leaders, just to remind you to look at things and have things around you that help you feel okay, as we will talk a bit about what we do, which includes helping people who have experienced abuse in their lifetime. So whatever you need to do, if you need your camera off, if you need a snack, if you need to take a break, that's okay. We will be talking about our team and what our team does for navigation and peer support. And then our peer support team will talk about healthy relationships and how to build on healthy relationships and self-protection. So I will move through what we do at the Sexual Assault Response Team. To give you a little bit of information and history, we were founded in 2017 because the CPPD staff did recognize that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities were experiencing the highest rates of sexual assault, but were not getting the needed trauma-informed services after reports. So prior to 2017, the CPPD, the Department of Public Health, and the Department of Developmental Services worked with doing a statewide survey, and they also did an assessment with the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center and found that there were few therapists identified in the entire state who were trained to work with sexual assault survivors with disabilities. They also found that rape crisis centers across the state felt the least confident to provide services to persons with disabilities. So then at that time, given those needs and gaps in services, the CPPD secured some funds through the Victims of Crime Act, or VOCA, through the Massachusetts Office of Victim Assistance, which is MOVA, and created our SAR team to be able to help survivors connect to services. Our team now has 5 regional navigators, so I am one of 5 for the Northeast area. We do have a navigator in every region, and we do provide services and support across the Commonwealth. We have 3 peer support leaders. You're going to hear from William and today, and we also have a SAR advisory council, that interdisciplinary team that's made up of survivors with disabilities, medical and legal experts, the sexual assault nurse examiners program, rape crisis centers, university professionals, so folks across the Commonwealth that work with sexual assault response. We also work with interface clinical matching, which is through William James College, and they offer clinical matching to help survivors with disabilities connect to informed therapists across the Commonwealth. And our database has grown and grown as we've been here since 2017, and now we're happy to say there are over a trauma-informed therapists who also work with people with disabilities can help connect with. This is our map of our services, just so you can see other navigators, other peer leaders here. We also have Jackie Perez out in Central West, is also Spanish speaking. So does provide Spanish speaking. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we do in terms of our navigation and what we offer. We follow up with every report that is an allegation of sexual assault, abuse, sexual harassment to help provide resources, referrals, consultation, and support. We follow up regardless of whether it is screened in or screened out for investigation. So that's important to know that we do reach out on every single report that comes in. We don't provide direct services to those who are under 18 because we don't work directly with minors, but we do work with the families, and the support people, guardians, case managers, any of the adults who are helping the minor, we will help find resources. All cases that we get are screened to determine if they happened within the last 5 days, because then if they had happened in the last 5 days, we help people connect to their nearest sexual assault nurse examiner and a sane hospital to get proper evidence collection if the person wants to do that. Our focus always is on empowering survivors, as that is most important in terms of supporting someone who's been harmed and identifying their needs with them and help them get connected through community resources and, of course, our peer support. Our navigators normally meet with survivors in the community where they feel comfortable. We don't meet individually in a private home, but we do meet in group homes. We do meet at day programs, DDS offices, Department of Mental Health offices. We meet at libraries. We meet at Dunkin' Donuts. We've met at police stations. We will meet people wherever they feel comfortable to meet to offer services. We do, of course, now, especially after COVID, we offer our virtual services as well. So services on Zoom, we do text messaging, phone calls, FaceTime, whatever works for a person to get connected. And we do work with providers as well. So we provide consultation, we provide outreach, such as this training today. We provide consultation to teams. So if somebody's working with somebody who has experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, we do provide consultation on how to best support that person. We are committed to warm referrals, which means that we help facilitate the referral process to a support service in a meaningful way, not just handing someone a phone number, but actually making sure they get connected to the service. We're also connected with other services across the state and state agencies. So things like the rape crisis centers across the state, the Victim Rights Law Center, various state agencies like DDS, the Department of Mental Health, Massability. We connect with all of them as well to coordinate services and training. Our services are free of charge, and they're voluntary based on survivors' choices. There's no time limit to our services. We can be involved at any point, as well as the allegation, the abuse doesn't have to have happened recently. This could be past assault or abuse that we can support as well, support the person with as well. I did mention this a little bit. We do coordinate with all the state agencies to help folks access services. We do work with a clinical matching service and the rape crisis centers. We believe in a really collaborative approach in helping people feel supported with other services that are connected with their current services if they want that as well, so that there's a kind of a team collaborative approach as well. We also work with law enforcement and legal services if needed and if wanted. We work with Massachusetts Victims Compensation, which is a fund in the state that survivors of abuse can apply for. We work with the Disability Law Center, the Victim Rights Law Center, and we also work with Impactability, as well as Triangle's abuse prevention program to help people get connected to education and support around healthy relationships, which is what we'll be talking some more about today. To work with us, folks have to be 18 years or older, so you have to be an adult, but we can work with family members, as I mentioned, and have experienced sexual assault in your lifetime. And most of our referrals come through our hotline and need to go through our hotline in order to get connected. That's our intake process. But it is not dependent on an investigation. So even if something's not being investigated, was screened out, we still will support the person. So that's a quick overview of our navigation services, a little bit about our team, and we're going to move into our peer support team, and I'm going to pass it over here to Tiffany. So I'm just going to stop sharing. So Tiffany and William here. And and then Tiffany will share her slides, and then William will take it away.
Okay, can everyone hear me? So now that we talked about the SAR team and how survivors can receive support. I want to spend some time talking specifically about peer support. So, peer support is different because it's based on the belief that sometimes there is tremendous value talking with someone who has the lived experience. Um, so, all of us, like myself, are peer support leaders, and we are survivors who have disabilities, and we use our own experiences, knowledge, um, and strengths to support other survivors with disabilities. Peer support is not about telling someone what they should do, um, but it's about walking alongside someone, listening, sharing experiences, and helping. And it's getting people to recognize they are not alone and they are believed. Um, and our goal is we don't make decisions for someone, but we help people feel more um, confident with their decisions and their choices. So it's it peer support is about connection, understanding, empowerment, choice. Go to the next slide. Peer support empowers. When we talk about empowerment, um, we're talking about helping people recognize their own strengths, their ability to make their choices. After experiencing abuse or sexual assault, people may feel like their voice does not matter, which is not true. Um, Peer support can help rebuild that sense of control. Um, and we, as peer leaders, can remind survivors that their experiences are valid, their voices matter, and they have the right to make their decisions about their own lives. And what we do is we focus on positivity, hope, and empowerment, not because we expect someone to move on, but because healing looks different for everyone. As peer leaders, we don't have all the answers, uh, but sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to be that person that says, "Look, I understand, and you're not alone, and I can walk through this with you." Um, so peer support does not replace services, professional services. We work alongside those. Uh, so what is peer support is the next. Peer support model is peer-to-peer led. Uh, it's it's led by sexual assault survivors with disabilities, and the lived experience creates a unique connection. A survivor may feel comfortable talking to someone who understands disability and has the first-hand experience navigating challenges that comes with surviving sexual violence. Peer support advocates for access to services. Let's see, sometimes
Hello, I unfortunately cannot go today because I have chores to do right now.
there's sometimes challenges about accessing services, um, and it's done in a way that's welcoming and understandable for the people receiving services. Peer support does raise awareness about in the community about sexual assault, trauma-informed care. Peer support is not therapy or counseling or case management. As peer leaders, we don't treat or diagnose or treat or tell someone what to do. But what I do is I provide connection, encouragement, education, advocacy, and support based on lived experiences. So what does peer support do? Peer support can look different depending upon what the survivor wants or needs. Um, we provide one-on-one peer support and group support. A survivor can connect with a peer leader and identify what support might be helpful and to be encouraged. In groups, survivors have opportunities to connect with other people, learn skills, participate in activities, and participate in the community. And as peer support leaders, we work with the navigators. And this is important because peer support and navigation complement each other. Um, we don't want survivors to ever have to navigate everything alone. And there's additional supports, which is next slide. Peer support is not limited to one type of meeting. We have passion projects. So the passion projects give peer leaders and survivors opportunities to focus on interests and strengths, creativity, personal goals. This is important because survivors are more than what happened to them, and we want to create the opportunities where people can explore what they are and what they enjoy. We have a peer support press. Peer support press provides a way to share information, um, resources, and content. And then we have Path to Healing. Path to Healing is an opportunity for survivors to come together in a supportive environment. It creates space for connection, uh, discussion, peer support. And we remind survivors that they are not alone. And then start discussing healthy relationships. So now I'd like to discuss to connect peer support to healthy relationships. That's another important topic. So relationships are a major part of our lives. They can include family, friends, coworkers, support staff, and other people in our communities. Because relationships are important, it's important that people understand what healthy relationships look like and what the warning signs may be to indicate that a relationship could be unsafe. So we should be on the slide. Next slide is what is a relationship? And a relationship is a connection we have with another person. Relationships can look very different. You can have friendships, family relationships, professional relationships, romantic relationships, and your community relationships. And there's no one type of relationship that everyone has to have. But what matters is that everyone is treated with respect, and everyone deserves relationships that are safe, kind, respectful, and honest. So the ask to those of you out there is, if you could describe a healthy relationship using one word, what would you choose? Some ideas would be respect, um, trust, kindness and honesty, safety, communication. Yeah, mutual consent, I heard in the chat. Yeah, that's good. That's right. So the next slide will be healthy relationships. Uh, a healthy relationship should always make someone feel respected and heard. Um, so listening and respecting choices. A healthy person listens to you. Yep, boundaries is good. I heard that come in. They don't make every decision for you. Someone will respect that you have a different opinion. Kind words and feeling safe. People in healthy relationships can disagree without using threats, insults, or fear. You should feel emotionally and physically safe and supporting goals. A healthy person wants you to grow, and they don't intentionally prevent you from seeing friends, pursuing your interests, seeing family, um, accepting no. One of the biggest signs of a healthy relationship is when someone respects your no. And it's always tell people we should never keep saying no over and over before someone listens. The key takeaways, healthy relationships give you room to be yourself. We'll pause here for a second, and then we'll go into the next slide, which is characteristics of healthy relationships. So let's look at some of the characteristics that make relationships healthy. First one is kindness. People treat each other with care and respect. Trust. Trust means feeling that you can be honest and that the other person will respect you. Honesty is healthy relationships allow people to communicate honestly with each other without fear of retaliation. Good communication. Communication means talking and listening. It also means being able to say what you need and having the other person listen to you at the same time. Healthy relationships are not perfect and people can disagree. But the big difference is how that disagreement is handled. And then we'll go into the next is unhealthy relationships. An unhealthy relationship can involve behaviors that make someone feel controlled, afraid, or disrespected. Um, Examples of that are someone ignores what you say, someone tries to control your choices, someone uses hurtful words to make you feel bad, someone can make you afraid, someone can refuse, to accept your no. And the important takeaway is having one disagreement does not ever automatically mean that a relationship is unhealthy. And what we're looking at is patterns of behavior that take someone's choice, their voice. And then the warning signs, that's the next slide. So it's warning signs of unhealthy relationships. So some warning signs may be easy to recognize. Others might be harder to identify. And that involves controlling who you talk to. A person may try to decide who you could be friends with. They may tell you they may tell you who you can or cannot spend time with. Um, Keeping secrets. Someone may tell you you cannot tell your family, friends, staff, or a trusted person about your relationship. And a person asking you to keep secrets can be a warning sign, especially if the secret makes you feel uncomfortable. If there's ever threats do not have to be physical. Someone can use words, intimidation, um, and fear to control another person. Taking money. Someone asking for money is not automatically abuse, but what's important is taking money without permission, pressuring someone for money is a serious warning sign. And now we'll go into what are boundaries on the next slide. Boundaries are personal rules that help us communicate what we are comfortable with and what we are not comfortable with. Everyone's boundaries are different. For example, uh, we say one person may love hugs while another one may not. Neither person is wrong in this, but the important things that the boundaries are respected. And we tell clients is Okay, ladies, you have the right to set your own boundaries. And then next slide will be types of boundaries. There's physical. Physical boundaries are about who can touch you, who can hug you, or enter your personal space. Emotional are how people speak to us and how we expect to be treated. Financial. Financial boundaries include who has access to our money and what we choose to spend our money on. Our time. Time boundaries involve how much time we choose to give another person. So an ask now to all of you is, can you think of an example of a boundary you might have? There's no real wrong answer to that. Um, and then we'll proceed. I'll take a moment and then we'll proceed to my body belongs to me. On the next slide. Let's take a minute if anyone has any thoughts or comments. Yeah, that's a good one. Don't stand too close when speaking. Arm's length, keeping people an arm's length away. I noticed in the chat that's a good one too. Yeah, very good. Okay, so yeah, personal space. That's right. Okay, so my body belongs to me. Is this next one here? So this is the most important message in this training. Your body belongs to you. You have the right to decide what happens to your body. You can say yes or you can say no, and you can change your mind. And you can ask questions. And if something makes you feel unsafe, um, leave and seek help. Having a disability does not take away a person's right to make decisions about their body. And now the next slide is what is consent? Next slide. Um, Consent means agreeing to something. For consent to be meaningful, it needs to be uh, given, ongoing, and respected. In simple terms, yes means yes. No means no. We need to stop and check. And silence does not mean yes. Consent can change. Someone can say yes at first and decide they don't want to continue. And that choice always needs to be respected. And the key message to this is uh, you never owe someone access to your body. And now I'll go into the next slide, how to say no. Sometimes people know they have the right to say no, but they may not know what to say. And there is not only one correct way to say no. So some examples, no thank you, I don't want to, please stop, I need space, or I'm leaving now. Uh, you can always move away, ask someone for help, or leave the situation. There's uh, no need to give someone a long explanation, for saying no. And now we'll transition to self-advocacy. Um, Self-advocacy means speaking up for yourself, communicating what you think, need, want, and feel. It can mean asking questions. It can mean saying no. It can mean asking someone you trust for help. Self-advocacy does not mean you have to handle everything by yourself. And the important uh, takeaway is asking for help is also self-advocacy. And the next slide is everyone deserves. Let's take a moment just to think about what every person deserves. as we think about respect and kindness, safety, of voice and choice, love and friendship. These are not things that someone has to earn. Having a disability does not change someone's right to have um, to have friendships, relationships, love, or choice. Next slide, supporting safe friendships. Healthy relationships require opportunities to meet people and build connections. Sometimes, in an effort to protect people, we can accidentally limit their opportunities to make friends. And when I remember our goal should not be to tell people do not trust anyone. Um, Instead, we want to teach people how to recognize healthy behaviors, identify warning signs, set boundaries, but ask for help. So some examples are clubs and recreation, community events, and there's peer support groups, classes and volunteering, social activities. And the key takeaway of this is safety and connection can always exist together. And now I'll discuss signs that may signal trouble. Next slide. Sometimes a person may not directly tell us that something is wrong. We may notice changes in behavior. Some examples can be fear around a particular person, avoiding places or activities they normally enjoy, sudden changes in mood, withdrawal, increased anxiety or sadness, giving away money or belongings, isolation from friends or family. Now, these signs do not always automatically mean abuse has occurred, but they can tell us that it's worth checking in with someone. So, when I ask to everyone, ins- instead of asking what's wrong with you, you can ask, how are you doing? Or is there anything you'd like to talk about? The next slide will be supportive decision making. One of the most important things we can do is avoid making decisions for people when they are capable of making their choices. Um, and we can support someone by asking questions. Um, and a good way to do that is to use questions like, what do you think? This gives the person the opportunity to share their perspective. What are your options? This helps someone recognize that they have choices. What feels safe? This brings safety into the conversation. What can help you? This helps identify trusted people and resources. And the key takeaway for this is to support the person uh, in making a decision rather than making a decision for them. And next slide, working together. Healthy relationships do not happen in isolation. Individuals, families, providers, peer leaders all have a role in this. For people with disabilities, we need to make sure support doesn't unintentionally take away someone's voice. And peer leaders can help bring the survivor's perspective into all these conversations. We want to move from doing things for people to supporting people to have a voice, make choices, and lead their own lives. And I'll go to every person has a right to. That's the next slide. Um, yeah, I want to end this part of the training by reinforcing something important. Um, every person has the right to um, to make friends. Every person has a right to meaningful relationships. Every person has a right to date if they choose. And every person has a right to learn about boundaries and consent. And every person has a right to make their own choices. Our job is not to remove every risk from someone's life, but our job is to help people understand risk, recognize unsafe situation, uh, learn skills, and know where they can go for help. And the next slide, to encourage safe opportunities. Sometimes our instinct is to protect people by saying things like dating isn't safe, we don't trust anyone. But that doesn't teach someone how to navigate relationships. Instead, we want people to teach people how to recognize healthy and unhealthy behaviors. And we can teach people what respect looks like, what boundaries look like, what consent means, what the warning signs look like, how to say no, how to ask for help, who they can trust. The goal is to not eliminate relationships, but it is to help people have safer, healthier relationships. So I want to bring the peer support and healthy relationship sections together. Uh, Peer support helps people recognize they're not alone. Healthy relationship education helps people understand what they deserve in their relationships. And the self-advocacy helps people use their voice. Boundaries help people communicate what is and what is not okay. And knowing where to get help makes it easier to respond when something doesn't feel right. And ultimately, this work is about voice, choice, safety, connection, empowerment. And the most important thing we can also remind survivors is you deserve to be heard. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be safe, and you do not have to go through it alone. So that's what I have here. So let's see.
Thank you, William. And
You're
so
welcome.
on the screen, you can find where you can access our CPPD website along with signing up for our mailing list. If you're interested in accessing, we have different things that you can access on the website. You can access APS video series where there's talking about different techniques and things to be able to provide support to those in your community. And that has a different series. We do have some videos that are focused on what APS is and how CPPD particularly helps folks in the community to provide support around that. We have many different resources that you can access there. And if you're interested in signing up for our mailing list, as indicated, we're happy to provide you further information around that as well. And you can use this to scan. As Trish mentioned, you will also get the slides. So if there's anything that you have questions about or you come across and you would like us to follow up, we're happy to do that too. And I just want to put up our email where you can access us. If you're ever interested in having our peer support leaders come out to work directly with peers, we're happy to do that. We provide different games such as Healthy Relationships Bingo. We have a Family Feud game. We have Self-Care Bingo. And we have different ways where we break down complex subject matter into fun, interactive games so that are folks have access to subject matter that's important to empower them on their healing journey or just their journey in general. So we're happy to come back out and be able to do those games as well as have our peer leaders work directly with folks. Or if you have any questions about the services that our navigation team provides and to connect you with, we're happy to answer those questions as well.
All right. So we have about 15 minutes for questions. So if anybody has any questions for our speakers, feel free to put them in the chat or just come off of mute or raise your hand here in Zoom and we can call on you. And I'll just kind of start off with this. I know we have some educators and a mix of parents and individuals themselves here. So just kind of curious, like from a parent perspective, how do you guys suggest kind of initiating this discussion if you have, a teenager that's starting to be interested in dating, and how do you suggest just kind of introducing those conversations with their child?
I think it's best for the child to lead, so you don't we always assume the worst, our child wants a relationship and that leads to other things. So I think it's best to listen to what the child has to say. So if they're what they're interested in and really gauging it from there and then providing them the support of what their understanding is, as well as where they would like the conversation to go. So they may just want to understand what it is to have a partner. And so you can start there, but it's really taking the opportunity to let the person be the driver in that seat so that you can understand what they need. Of course, as a parent, you want to make sure that you're keeping your loved ones safe, but it's also important to hear their voice and to amplify their voice in a way that's supportive.
Great, thank you. And someone asked in the chat if the games and activities you mentioned are available online.
They are, yes. We offer both in-person and virtual games.
Oh, great. Do we have any other questions from anyone in the audience? Someone's asking if you have book recommendations.
recommendations.
You want to take that, William? I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
Oh no, I not really sure. Book recommendations. What do we have?
So off the top of my head, I do not, but I definitely have some resources that I can send over in terms of videos, book recommendations, um, and all of that good stuff. So if you would like to, I don't know if there's capabilities of sending me your email privately, but I'm happy to um, send that over to you as well. Or if you want to send an email I can share it again so you can take our email and then be able to shoot us an email, whichever works best for you.
Great. One thing I was thinking about, you were talking about, if something, sexual assault does happen, just making sure that they have uh, the ability to go to a hospital or that kind of thing if it's within a few days. Do you guys offer support for, like, to actually go with people for those parts of the process? Just because I know working with hospital staff or other people who may not be trained to work with people with disabilities, do you guys offer like a facilitated kind of process with that?
We don't accompany to the hospital, but we can provide support in that process as well as a connection. Who does provide that are the local rape crisis centers. They have a collaboration with the SANE nurses, so a support person would be there from the rape crisis center that provides the advocacy and support there. And we work with liaisons at every rape crisis center, so we can help facilitate that support if that's needed.
Okay, great.
Because they have uh there are contracts. There are procedures involved at the hospital, I guess is the easiest way to say it, like who can
Right.
go in. I will say we can advocate for what a survivor needs at the hospital. So I have been on the phone with a person who'd been assaulted with a disability who wanted someone in the room with her, and the hospital didn't think that was possible with the evidence collection, which isn't true. So we were able to navigate with the same process, so we can help advocate for what a survivor needs while they're there. And then they would have a rape crisis counselor who would also be there.
Great. Anyone
I would
else
say,
have
sorry, I don't think I said
Okay.
this, just I was trying to keep our part brief, but we do also offer training to providers who don't always work with people necessarily. Their area of expertise isn't working with people with disabilities. So we do training also for like rape crisis centers, domestic violence centers about how to support survivors with disabilities. So the training goes in multiple directions, as well as helping those who work with people with disabilities on how to support people who've experienced abuse or harm.
And is that something if someone was from a health clinic or something like that and they wanted that training, could they reach out
Yes,
to you guys? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, reach out to us if you want us to come talk, do any trainings, do anything, as well as like Tiffany said, provide like the direct education with games and activities around healthy, more information about healthy relationships.
Great. And someone asked if there's a list of trauma-informed therapists who are trained to work with sexual assault victims with ID.
There isn't a list that can be shared. We work with the interface holds a database. So what they do is if somebody wanted to have a therapist, you could contact me and we can work through the referral process. And then the clinical matching service does an intake over the phone with the person or people supporting the individual, and they provide you a match based on insurance, location, preferences around telehealth or in person, preferences around gender needs, mental health needs. So they do an intake and then they will give you names. So there's not just a general list that I know of, but we don't have.
Great. All right. Anyone else have any other questions? Someone asked if there's a way to find this presentation, so I'll just let people know we are recording this. So about a day, usually after the program, we email out a link to the recording, as well as the slides and things. So we will be sending that out after this program. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? No, I guess we're good then. I'll turn it back over to Matt and we'll wrap us up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you, William, Tiffany, Trish, for all of that great information. We really appreciate your time and being here today. Also want to give a shout out to the Community Resource Center, the Community Resource Specialists who helped set this up. We have Carrie Neenan from the North Shore Area Office. We have Mary Rothstein from the Metro North Area Office. We have Holly Keene from Central Middlesex Area Office and Amy Richards from Merrimack Valley. So thank you guys for all the support today and helping out. Again, your feedback is really important. We really want to make sure that we are meeting expectations of everybody within our network and being able to work collaboratively. One of the big things about our network is we are a collaboration, and we want to make sure that we're working with everybody just to meet the needs of where you're at in your area of life right now. So please fill out the feedback survey. We'd love to hear more about ways we can improve, what you liked about our sessions, and we hope to see you at the next sessions. For educators, For educators, you'll be receiving a follow-up email to complete our formative and summative knowledge assessment. This is required for PDP eligibility, and it must be completed within 30 days. So just be on the lookout for that follow-up email from the Community Resource Center, Northeast Transition Collaborative Network. Some of our upcoming sessions on Tuesday, September 29th, we're having the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, the North Shore Area Office is going to be focusing on navigating the transition together, exploring DDS adult services. If you're interested in registering, we will be sending that in the follow-up email. You can also register now by scanning the QR code. I'll leave that up for just a moment. And the ARC of Massachusetts is doing their biannual transition conference this year, Transition Journeys Conference 2026, Tools for Today, Hope for Tomorrow. The Northeast Transition Collaborative Network is partnering with the ARC of Massachusetts, so we are able to provide professional development opportunities for educators. There's over 20 breakout sessions that you can sign up for. That's going to be on Saturday, October 24th at the Renaissance Framingham Hotel. Registration will be found by scanning the QR code here, and we'll also have the link in our follow-up email. And that concludes today's presentation. We really appreciate you all being here today, taking time out of your day to join us and learn from the team from CPPD. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at Community Resource Center at ne-arc.org.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Have a good day, Matt.
You
You're
too.
welcome.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.